Welcome back to the Red Star Rides. I'm your host Connor, and in today's video I'll be speaking on the unfortunate information that we received earlier today about the closure of California's Great America within the next 11 years. In this video I'll be talking about why it's closing, possible relocations for some of the attractions, and to see what the future is like for California's Great America and the rides there. If you go onto Cedar Fair's website and you go down to the latest news area, you'll find an article from June 27th, 2022, that's today's date, on California Great America's sale, and that it got sold for $310 million. That's a lot of money. The reason that Cedar Fair is doing this, my assumption is anyways, because they don't tell us, is either A, COVID debt, or B, just bad debt from rides and attractions that didn't go so well, and they just, a lot of stuff's happened. Cedar Fair with debt. They're typically on top of theirs, unlike Six Flags, but every amusement park company except for Universal and Disney has debt because it's a hard market. The amusement park market, it's not very fun. However, they sold it for $310 million, and in 11 years California's Great America has to close. Cedar Fair can choose to operate the park for however long they want in that 11-year time period, but after 11 years it has to close. What they will do with the park is beyond me. I do not know, and nobody knows except for the Cedar Fair executives and California Great America executives. No one else knows. So what will they do about the rides and attractions? That is what I am going to try to speculate in this next section. Now it's time to go through all the different roller coasters of California's Great America and say where they're going to go. First, Demon. As much as I like my old Aero Loopers, I don't think Demon has much of a chance standing at any other park because I looked over it. Demon is... Okay, all the other parks have Aero Loopers. All of them. I take that back. Almost all of them. And the ones that don't have them, either A, had one in the past very similar, and they don't want another one, or just something along the line. So unfortunately, I don't think Demon has any life left in it, and I think it will end up getting destroyed. Moving on to Flight Deck. My opinion, Flight Deck will be going to Valley Fair. Now here's why. Flight Deck going to Valley Fair would be a great idea. One, Valley Fair doesn't have a traditional invert. Now what I mean by that is not a shuttle inverted coaster, because if we were talking about shuttle inverted coasters, they would already have one. However, they don't have a traditional invert, and actually every other Cedar Fair park has a traditional inverted coaster. And so with that, sorry, but Flight Deck will have to go to Valley Fair. Moving on to Gold Striker, in my personal opinion, this is not just for me, I think that Gold Striker will go to Carowinds, because all the other Cedar Fair parks either have multiple wooden coasters or one that is at least enjoyable. Hurler is rough in some sections, and it doesn't give much airtime. The only other park I could see it going to is like Cedar Point with Blue Streak, but personally, I don't think Cedar Point will get anything. And so Gold Striker goes to Carowinds because Hurler is beans, and that they need a GCI. They've needed a GCI for the longest time, but they never got one. So I think Gold Striker would be a great fit in Carowinds' lineup. Next is Grizzly. I don't think Grizzly has a chance to go anywhere. I think Grizzly will end up getting destroyed because it's Grizzly. No one really likes that coaster, and the places that it could go are very limited. So I think it's just going to get destroyed. Lucy's Krabby Cabbies. I think Lucy's is going to get destroyed as well because it's just a little kiddie coaster. It doesn't really belong anywhere else other than a park that didn't have a kiddie coaster, which every other Cedar Fair park, including Gilroy Gardens, already has a kiddie coaster, so Lucy's doesn't really have a place in any other park's lineup. Then on to Patriot. Patriot I actually do think will get salvaged. Believe it or not, Patriot is the second B&M ever built, so it is old, it is a historical attraction, and I think Patriot will get relocated to Michigan's Adventure, because Michigan's Adventure 1 doesn't have a B&M, and there are only 2 parks that didn't have a B&M, Valley Fair and Michigan's Adventure, excluding Gilroy Gardens. And I gave Valley Fair flight deck, so Patriot gets to go to Michigan's Adventure, because Michigan's Adventure doesn't have a lot of really good coasters, so I think Patriot would do wonders there. And also, that gives them an excuse to get rid of Corkscrew, because I've heard Corkscrew is atrocious. Moving on to Psycho Mouse. None of the mainstream Cedar Fair parks need this, because they all already have some form of wild mouse. Now, Psycho Mouse is an arrow mouse, so it is a fairly rare model. However, 2 Cedar Fair parks already have arrow mouses, and so all the other parks already have wild mice, I don't know, how do you say that? They already have wild mice of their own, and so there isn't much of a reason for Psycho Mouse to go anywhere in the mainstream Cedar Fair parks. However, Gilroy Gardens doesn't really have much of anything, and Psycho Mouse has a fairly small footprint, so I think Psycho Mouse is going to Gilroy Gardens. There, Gilroy Gardens gets something new. I wouldn't have ever thought that, but they got something new. Moving on to the big boy that probably a lot of people are asking about, Railblazer. Now, I would give Railblazer to Dorney Park, and that was going to be my option. However, I looked more into it, and Dorney Park is an hour and a half away from Six Flags Great Adventure, which just has a bigger and faster Raptor model, which to the general public, that's all they're going to see is bigger, faster with Jersey Devil. So I decided to put Railblazer at Worlds of Fun, because Worlds of Fun doesn't really have anything, and it's also in Kansas City, and it needed something new, and so Worlds of Fun, they get that. And then Woodstock Express, I'm sorry, Woodstock Express, I don't really see any purpose for this to go anywhere else, so I think Woodstock Express will simply get destroyed. And that was the story on how California's Great America will be shutting down in the next 11 years, and what will happen to the rides and attractions. Now, for the rides and attractions parts, none of that was factual, that was all my speculation. However, I do think maybe some of it could happen. I'm pretty sure all of it's not going to happen, though, but it's all fun and games to speculate, so why not? I mean, no disrespect towards the Cedar Fair executives that called this decision, because it must have been a difficult decision to make, losing one of your parks that gained you quite a bit of revenue, but the land was worth more than the park, so they sold it. And yeah, that was the video. Hope you enjoyed. Please share, get this around, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.